Thanks so much for coming. We're going to be doing the learning tonight for the Refuah Shlema of Amichai Simcha ben Ilana Miriam, Refuah Shlema, Amichai Cronenberg. He's one of the sweetest kids in the universe, that kid. I love that kid. And for the Refuah Shlema of Natan Daniel ben Malka, Refuah Shlema. Oh, Cindy sent me a name. It's another name of a friend of ours in Jersey. Okay, we'll add it in afterwards. We'll add his name as well. A very horrible accident of Mel Schechter, I think his name is. I forget his name. Anyway, everything should be for the Refuah Shlema of all of Am Yisrael, Bifrat, Bichlal. This is one of my favorite parashiyot that we have for many reasons. The easiest reason for me personally to connect to it is because of Kehuna, because it talks about the tahara of a Kohen, and it gives clear guidelines as to what the Kohen should be into and what he shouldn't be into. But beyond that, one of the most beautiful things about Emor is that we always read Emor in the time of Sephirah Omer, and the mitzvah of Sephirah Omer is given to us in Parashat Emor. So there are many things, there are many beautiful things to develop from this parsha, but because it is Sephirah Omer, and because it comes up in the parsha, I wanted to address something that I'm sure we all want to pay more attention to, and gearing up towards reaching the middle of Sephirah Omer. It's crazy that we're pretty close to the middle of Sephirah Omer already, if not, are we past it already, right? This is like, wow, okay, so who feels that they're halfway ready for the Kabbalah Torah? Who feels they're a quarter ready for Kabbalah Torah, right? Maybe, right? Who knows? Who knows what that even means? That you're ready or not ready to receive the Torah. Who even knows? How do we understand that? So today, the only thing that we can say today that we're actively preparing towards Kabbalah Torah is always based on the question, what? Did you lose your count? Are you still counting? And it's this game of like, if I didn't forget to count at night, that must mean that I'm ready for Sephirah, for Kabbalah Torah. And at the risk of sounding very unorthodox, that to me is just like, that can't be. That can't be what the heart of what it is. And that doesn't mean, chas v'shalom, for 1 second, we're belittling the holiness and the kedusha and the importance and the necessity to count every single night. Chas v'shalom, don't get me wrong. But it's got to be more than just making sure that I'm counting. I didn't forget to count. It's got to be more than that. On that, I'm sure we could all agree. It's got to be more than that. But the question is, okay, so what is it exactly? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing during this tkufa of Sephirah Omer? So we're going to look at something tonight with 2 small teachings from the Baal HaTanya, the Reb Shneur Zalman of Liadi and the Sfas Emes from Gur, and go into a big home run by Reb Shlomo. I'm talking Grand Slam stuff, really like a out of the ballpark Reb Shlomo stuff, where it's a beautiful teaching of his, which he will explain to us based on how we end the blessing of Sephirah Omer, what the focus truly really is. So with that, let's just go right into it. Really beautiful stuff that I'm very, very excited about. Okay. Here you go. Okay. Mindy, you have? Okay. Chaya, you got? Okay. So Reb Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the Baal HaTanya, has a very beautiful ma'amar, Sfartem Lachem. It's a very famous discourse in Lubavitch. And we're just going to learn the first 2 lines of it. The Reb Shneur Zalman of Liadi says, when it says Usfartem Lachem, the word Usfartem, how do we usually translate that word Usfartem? You should count. What other words can come from that word Usfartem?
Story.
Tell a story. V'sipartem ulai, yeah? What else? Huh? Oh, sapar. Okay. It's interesting. Why is it called really why is the saper called meaning cutting?
It's not cutting, it's hair cutting.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Okay, so specifically,
Doesn't
right.
answer the question.
Right, doesn't answer the question, it makes it even a sharper question. Okay.
And dafka, you're not supposed to during Sephirah because of this other thing that happens. So
Interesting.
You're not cutting and you are counting, and it's
Adds to the whole the whole world of confusion that already exists. Thank you, Mindy. We're okay. So Reb Shneur Zalman of Liadi is going to say it means something else too. Usfartem hu lishon behirut. What's behirut? Clarity. Usfartem alludes to the meaning clarity. How? Kmo even sapir. What's even sapir? The sapphire stone. What do we know about the sapphire stone?
Light blue,
and that's
like sky.
under
It's-
the kisei kavod.
It's placed underneath the throne of glory, but also, what is it? The sapphire stone is, what's the word when you could see right through it? It's completely,
Transparent.
transparent. The sapphire stone, but really the word that he's getting to here is behirut, is clarity. Usfartem hu leshon behirut, kmo even sapir, v'chen eser sfirot. This is what the concept, Eser Sfirot, which are the 10 spheres, the 10 emanations, right? Chesed, Gvura, Tifer, all the spherot that we have. V'chen Eser Sfirot, hu leshon behirut. It means the 10 ways to work on yourself in order for one main purpose, that it's clear to you, that things become clearer to you in your life. V'zeu sfartem lachem, which the Alter Rebbe says means you're gonna take yourself and you're going to give some serious clarity into your lives. You're going to know where you are. You're going to know what's going on. You're going to be in touch with yourself. זהו ספרתם לכם, היינו, להמשיך 10 ספירות, you're going to draw down the sfirot, the spheres, the emanations, שיעירו לכם למטה. וספרתם לכם means you're going to be taking all these wondrous midot that we work on every single night, right? What's tonight's midah? Right. So you're going to take that and you're going to work that through yourself and polish it, that midah, and it's going to become part of you. It'll somehow find a way to make your life clear to you. Usfartem lachem. This is for you. So here the Alter Rebbe is saying to us, Sfartem comes from the word sapir, Even sapir, the sapphire stone. And many of the other Hasidic Rebbes take that also. They always talk about this, Usfartem lachem, bring sapir into your life. Lachem. This is the time right now between Pesach and Shavuos to work on clarity. Now look what the Sfas Emes says. This is one of my favorite pieces. B'yamim eilu achar yetzias Mitzrayim, on these days that follow leaving the exodus of Egypt, nimshechu b'nei Yisrael achar HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'midbar. Am Yisrael followed Hashem Yitbarach into the desert. Kedichtiv zacharti lach chesed ne'urayich. You've heard that beautiful song, right? Ko amar Hashem zacharti lach chesed ne'urayich. What does that mean? I remembered the chesed of your youth. What was the chesed that we did, so to speak, when we were young as a people? Lechtech acharai b'midbar. Go after me in the midbar. Be'eretz lo zru'ah. In a land that's not, what did you say? It's over. That's a land that's not planted, right? A land that's not without zarua, without zera. Zacharti la chesed ne'urayich. It was a beautiful time in our history. This time of the year was a beautiful time in history when Am Yisrael followed HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the desert. And what does that show when you're willing to go there, to that place with someone? What does that allude to? Trust, love, what else? There's a word we're going to get to. Emuna, absolutely. Well, I was at a bar mitzvah recently you ever been to bar mitzvah where obviously when the father gives a drush and then he starts to talk about his wife and it gets so mushy you don't even want to be there. So it was one of those where he basically, the father bar mitzvah boy just stopped. I don't know if he forgot that anyone was there, he didn't care, and he just said, every day with you I feel so privileged that our lives are you just, I don't even know sometimes where I'm taking you, but Zacharti la chesed ne'urayich lechtech acharai b'midbar be'eretz lo, and the whole place is bawling, and so I thought about it right now, but it also is going to bring us to the word that the Sfas Emes is taking us to. Since it's such a beautiful time in the year, we go back every time and say, this is the time where we were what? We had tmimus. We had this purity, this simple emunah, tmimus, which is the goal of Sephirah, because it says, Usfartem lachem mimochorat ha-Shabbat, miyom aviachem et Omer atnufa, sheva Shabbatot tmimot tihiena. There is 7 weeks here where the midah, the general midah of tamim, is accessible to us. Why is that? Because that's the basic sha'ar that was opened back then when we left Mitzrayim and followed HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'eretz lo zera. So the Sfas Emes says, second line, ubevadai nishar mizeh zchira b'shamayim. For sure, there's a memory of this up in Shamayim ledorot, every single generation. ממילא יש התעוררות בנשמות בני ישראל להתבטל אליו יתברך בימים אלו. Certainly there's an awakening in the neshamas of Am Yisrael to be mitbatel to Hashem during these days. לכן כתיב, therefore it says, usfartem, sorry about that typo, usfartem lachem, for you. Why? כי הזמן מוכשר עתה לכך. This is the actual time. Zman mukhshar, like how do you say mukhshar? You say about karka that's mukhshar. Zman mukhshar means it is a designated time. For what? To go into this place that the Alter Rebbe was speaking about behirut, about clarity, because this is what happened back then. ולאשר דור המדבר היו באמת תמימים. They really were תמימים. שהרי נמשכו אחריו כבהמה. They followed God like a cow follows its owner. לכן זה הזכות עומד לפניו. And therefore that same זכות that our forefathers went through and brought down is standing there for each and every one of us right now. שנשאר התעוררות הימים האלו בכל שנה ושנה. That the awakening of these days somehow keeps on popping up every year during this time of Sephirah Omer. It's a time of really getting corny, going to that bar mitzvah speech again, and being able, I don't know if to say it or to hear it or to be present and not feel like it's, getting you nervous, but to go back into that place of tmimut again, where our fathers and mothers followed Hashem be'eretz lo zeru'ah, in a land that was barren. So too, that same tmimus is available to us right now. So we still didn't answer, though, what the tachlis avoda is. We know what the outcome is. What's the outcome of it? I would say 2 words. Behirut and tmimut. Clarity and tmimistic. Being tamim. That's the result that'll probably happen when we do the actual work during Sephirah Omer. But we still don't know what we're doing. This still doesn't answer anything. We still think that the only avodah Sephirah Omer is to make sure we don't miss a night with the bracha counting. Right? We still haven't figured out, or maybe you want to give you could throw out an idea right now what it means. What do you think it means? Still, have we gotten to that place of avodah?
All these books that say, today do this, and the next day today do that. Be aware of. But none of it makes a lot of sense.
Has anyone fallen in love with any perush about those things? There's some good stuff out there. It's still very
vague.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff out there, actually. I get this, every night I get a 40 to 90 second clip of Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg speaking about it in English. Yeah, in English, amazing.
English.
Yeah, English too. Yeah, so, but to draw it even more into my own life, I have to do something even more than that. I got to do even something more than that. And this is where Reb Shlomo is my Rabbi, because what he was able to do with these Kabbalistic concepts of spheres and stuff, and put it in and deliver it to us in such a magnificent way, is just greatness, absolute greatness. So Reb Shlomo says like this, on the bottom over here. After we count the Omer, we say Harachaman hu yachzir lanu avodas beis hamikdash limekoma b'meheira b'yameinu. I got a dare many years ago by a certain rabbi. He was head of a beis din in Los Angeles, and he dared me to. Here, we'll put some extra ones down there. He dared me to write a nigun to these words because he never found a nigun to those words. Does anyone know a nigun to those words? Harachaman hu yachzir lanu avodat beit hamikdash limekoma. Maybe Amen, Sarah? I don't think there is, right? Do you know of one?
Molly was singing one to the tune of your father's. Keep singing that song afterwards.
Well, something designated specifically for this nigga. It's such beautiful words. Harachamanu yachzir lanu avodat beit hamikdash limkoma b'meira b'yameinu amen Sarah. That's what we say right after we say the bracha. Reb Shlomo is going to look at that, and from there, answer us as to what it is we're supposed to be busy doing during Sephirah Omer. This is beautiful. What exactly are we asking for, and why now? So when I'm putting on tefillin, I don't say to God, bring me back to the Beis Hamikdash. Or even when I'm lighting, I don't know, women, do you say when you light Shabbos candles about Beis Hamikdash? No. You do? What do you say? In the Hira, it is in the Hira?
No, I say.
Oh, you say. Tmimus. You're there. Avoda's there. Huh? Right. Tmimus. But generally speaking, in these mitzvahs that we do, we don't do mitzvahs of let's say, I don't know, of Rosh Hashanah. Do you then say, Harachamanu Zilanu Avodas Beis Hamikdash Limekoma? Hanukkah candles, I mean, you could add it on maybe on your own, Or another mitzvah. When I put on tzitzis, I don't talk about Beis HaMikdash. Certain mitzvah, I don't do it. Here by Sephirah Omer, I count the Omer, I count my time, I count the day, and right afterwards, bring me back the Beis
So you
HaMikdash.
can also ask it after the Amida. Why do we do it there also?
Why do you do it there? That's not a mitzvah, though.
Right.
That's a part of a bigger mitzvah of tefillah, but over here, this is literally part of right after you say the bracha. Is what we say. Yeah, Dov? I thought you raised your hand. Sorry.
I'm moving around here.
It would make more sense on Hanukkah. After you light the fire.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, as you said, it would totally it would.
It would make more sense on Sukkot. It would make more sense. Korban Pesach for sure would make sense. I guess, Pesach, what's the closest you get to on Pesach? L'shana haba Yerushalayim maybe. But to really literally bring down this energy into the mitzvah is received by Sephirah Omer. It's very interesting. But when I count my days, Rib Shlomo says, I say, please God, take me back to the Holy Temple. Why so? Why is this dafka when I count my days? Because the knowing of the secret of time and space means you're ready for the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, that's a big psh. And now we have to do a Rashi on that psh. We have to understand, why does a statement like that hit our hearts in such a deep way? What does that mean, l'maisa, in our lives? And how am I going to take this teaching and make it into something that I'm going to be doing avoda with, work with? I'm going to say that line again. Knowing the secret of time and space means you're ready for the Beis HaMikdash. Anyone want to give this a shot before we learn Reb Shlomo's text to explain this line? Yeah, Mindy?
Only the concept of the Kodesh Kodeshim, which has this spatial issue.
Well, that's above time and space.
Yeah, but that's the only place where you actually get time and space somewhere connected with it, in my opinion.
I would say dafka, that's the only place where you don't get it connected with it, because ha'aron eina min amida, because things didn't fit in there.
Right.
Maybe we're saying the same thing.
It could be.
Okay. Anyone else want to explain that line, that when you know the secret of time and space, it means you're ready for the Beis HaMikdash?
I don't even understand. It seems to me like time and space is to force connected. Sephirah Omer is time and Beit HaMikdash is space.
Right.
So Sephirah Omer is time. It's not really connected to the Beit HaMikdash unless there's some secret here that connects it.
Okay, let's see. That's very good. Let's see. All right, look what he says here. What does this mean, to know the secret of time and space? Here, let me ask you something very strong. What was the depths of the sin of the golden calf? Not like, how deep was the golden calf, meaning how deep of an avera was it? What was the problem in its essence with the Egel Hazav? We simply didn't know that we're not in Egypt anymore. Why? Why would he say that? What does that mean? What does that mean? We didn't know we're not in Mitzrayim anymore. That what does that have to do with the golden calf?
Well, I guess if you go to the time issue, right? Why did they freaked out because they miscounted the time?
Right. Nachon, they did a mistake there with time.
Or they also viewed Moshe as their ruler.
As opposed to a tzino, a conduit. Maybe also just on a space level, he's talking about literally in Egypt. In Egypt, if I got together as a slave, if a bunch of slaves got together and made a golden calf, would that have been viewed as such a horrible thing?
No.
It's the place where it takes place, which makes the severity of the golden calf such a deep issue. That's where you're doing it? By Har Sinai? By Mount Sinai? That's where you're putting a golden calf? You know, it's never good to make a golden calf, but if you're ever going to do it, by Har Sinai, do it anywhere else. But Davka, why in Har Sinai? It's amazing. You know, there are chaver that never talk to each other, ever. The only place they actually talk to each other is in a shul. But Davka in a shul is the place that you're going to start to talk to each other? It's a wild thing. I'm not talking about, things that have any shaykhs to anything in this world. Just them talking to each other, right? So again, what was the depths of the sin of the golden calf? We simply didn't know that we're not in Egypt anymore. In Egypt, you make a golden calf, meaning in the mindset of a slave, when you're there, that's when you make, if you're going to make a golden calf, that's where you make a golden calf. Not when you're standing by Har Sinai. After Mount Sinai, how are you able to make a golden calf? Of course it's forbidden. It was forbidden. But that's not what was so bad about the whole scene. Now he's going to explain this even some more simple. Imagine you meet your best friend after a long, sorry, that's definitely a typo, after a long time of not seeing them. And you start talking Lashon Hara about another person, right? You haven't seen someone in so long, and what do you start doing right away? Start saying disgusting things about somebody else. Oh, remember that guy in high school? Wow, you wouldn't believe what happened to that. How these are things that sometimes happen. So Reb Shlomo says, forget about the fact that it's forbidden. You just met your best friend. Is this the time to talk evil about another person? Not now. You want to talk Lashon Hara? Talk at another time. So, why is it that we so easily are able to forget where we are? And we learn this really from that sin that we're still suffering from of the golden calf, that we're so easily capable of forgetting where we are on a space level, because we're not plugged into the concept of time. We're going to have to use our heads a bit more tonight. I'm sorry, I should have warned you. The concept of time and the concept of space, mamish, mirror each other. We receive light every second, but our mistakes and our failures are because I don't think there's anything new being created in me, in my space right now. So I end up treating life as if I'm just in the middle. I'm always just trying to hold on to something which once existed. Okay, that's a very deep paragraph. Does anyone understand this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
But we're always standing in front of Hashem. He's always witnessed everything that we're doing. But we think about it maybe when we're in shul, and for some people maybe not even there, or like if you're going to the kotel, certainly, or a makom kadosh.
Right.
You think about it there, and but it's like we've been talking about in the different chaburot, like preparing for davening. Some of us, myself included, have fallen prey to just going through the motions.
Right.
When you actually stop and think about the fact that you're sitting or standing and talking to Hashem, you're much more careful about putting the proper kavanah in and blocking out all of these other distractions. But really, all the time we're in front of Hashem. So
what happens to me when I lose that awareness?
You start to slip, to make these mistakes.
Meaning you're not plugged into what's really happening to you at that moment. What's really happening to you at that moment, every moment, that there's constant light coming down from Shemaim all the time. But when I lose the sense of where I'm standing, that's why it says, Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before who you're standing. And another very important pasuk is, Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid. Tamid. What does that mean? Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. That essentially, if I define myself as a God-fearing person, my goal is that I have Hashem in front of me all the time. Shiviti milashon shaveh, that it's right in front of me, always. What happens to a person that loses that sense of awareness? He's not aware that right now, there's something new that's happening to him right now, that every second counts. So where do we get stuck in? I'm just trying to hold on to a spark that I once felt a long time ago. When really, what are you trying to hold on to that happened to you so long ago? There's new things happening to you day and night.
We're walking around with kippah on all the time.
What's that?
It's lost with kippah.
The kippah lost its...
Meaning, right, that's what's supposed to remind us of. Forget symbolized other people.
I only learned much later in life what that even, what the word in yarmulke means. You know what yarmulke means, right?
The meaning, though, the reason behind it.
Well, the meaning behind it is based on the yarmulke in Yiddish, in Aramaic, Yareh Malka, yarmulke, Yareh Malka. I have fear of the king. Yareh Malka, Yarmulke. That's why in English, Y-A-R-M. What's that L doing there? M-U-L-K-E. Yarmulke. You don't say Yarmulke, right? No, you really should. Maybe if we start calling them Yarmulks, we'll have more of a, of a consciousness of a...
Outside of Israel, I think, at least for me, if I walk around with a kippah on, I'm so much more aware of...
Hopefully, yeah.
The example I'm setting
But the words he said here are very, very deep. He's saying, our mistakes and failures are because I don't think there's anything new being created in me, in my space right now, where I'm at in life right now. So I end up treating life as if I'm just in the middle. And I'm always trying to hold on to something which once existed. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening to me right now in my life. I'm really hung up on things that I went through a long time ago. You know, I recently met a friend that I hadn't seen in a long time, that him and I went through some very heavy stuff a long time ago, way before we started our families. And I couldn't believe it. Had a discussion with the person, and they started bringing up all these things that I had to like work really hard to remember details, this and that. And I realized I could either say that this guy has just some unfinished business with me, or that, I don't know, he has just some unfinished business with himself, right? But I was thinking of this, right? It's so chaval that we don't just let the baggage be baggage and we schlep that into now, because it blocks us from being open to the time and space of what's happening right now in our life. So the whole concept of Sephirah Omer is that when you say every day there's a new midah, means whether you fixed yesterday's thing or not, en ma lasot. Now there's something new. Now there's a new shining of a new thing to work on in your life. But if you're still going to be caught up on, did I really do my work of yesterday? Forget the whole thing. You're not plugged into time and space. You're just caught up in the middle of everything, and your life is a balagan. There's no behirut, there's no svartem lachem. And there's definitely no way of just walking out with Hashem b'tmimus. Why? Because you'll say, no, in order to walk with you, Hashem, I first have to fix all these different things that I... Imagine if the Yidden leaving Mitzrayim, you know, Hashem says, come with me, and they say, no, to really be frum, it means I have to really fix that midah first before I could say that I walk with God. We would have never left Egypt. But with our own avodas Hashem, how often do we say, no, I'm not on the level yet. I shouldn't go there. I shouldn't take that on because I'm not on the level yet, right? With that kind of headspace, you're never on any level. You're never on any level. Okay, so back in this top paragraph over here. So now, between Pesach and Shavuos, we are learning the awesomeness of every day and of every minute by making every minute and every day count. And this is why I ask God to take us back to the Beis HaMikdash when I count Sephirah. Because when I learn of the holiness of receiving light every second, my own place in this world begins to become clear to me. Tom, I'm consciously holding back from calling on you this whole shiur, just so you should know, okay? All right. When I learn the holiness of receiving light every second, meaning, what does that mean? That I'm not holding on to my slave mentality of the past. When I'm truly alive right now, for real, then what ends up happening to me? He says, my own place in the world begins to become clear to me. Who I am, what I should be doing in this world, what I shouldn't be doing in this world. Things fall into its place. Harachaman hu yachzir lanu avodat Beit HaMikdash limkoma. Bring back the awesomeness of having a Beis HaMikdash in my life to its place, in its right place. Many people are busy doing a lot of great things in the world, and they feel so lost. They feel so lost, and it's so weird. They're doing such good things, and yet they still feel so lost. And they run from Rebbe to Rebbe. They take on this, and they do that. What is it? It's not in the right place. You haven't really let go of yesterday. And even as I'm saying those words right now, there's this fear that each of us have of, if I really let go of yesterday, then that means I didn't fix what I had to work on. And I don't know anyone that's ever said, I have fixed what I have to work on and I'm now ready for tomorrow. I don't know anyone like that. It is fixed. Something that was something that I knew I had to really fix. And when you say fixed, not just like get over. Fixed. It is now fixed. and now I'm ready to take this on. It doesn't work like that. That's a slave mentality. A free person trusts that being alive with what you have in front of you right now is way more important than trying to completely fix the midah that you did yesterday, that you had a chance to work on yesterday. Because if not, you'd be stuck every single... There's no way you wouldn't get past chesed sheba chesed. How can anyone say they have fixed the midah of chesed sheba chesed, of gvura sheba chesed, right? What I mean to say is, for the most basic, simple things we have to work on, who can say that certain qualities, they're fixed? They're never fully fixed. You're not supposed to feel that things are fully fixed. Part of letting go is accepting that right now is much more important than trying to fix what you're supposed to work on yesterday. It's a very hard thing to makabel. Maybe you want to stone me right now for even saying such things, because it really negates so much of what we've built up about our self-development and our character development. But it's a very heavy, beautiful thing to truly internalize this concept of the most important word, which is hayom, which is all I have in front of me anyway. It's all I have. You know, my head's right now very much in parenting. Every Torah we're learning. I keep on going to the parenting course we're doing. So I'm thinking, like, how many parents get stuck in still trying to implement certain things that the 3-year-old needed, but the child is now 19. You know. Limukoma, in its space. This is what we're working on in Sephirah Omer. Everything has its space. It's time and its space. Now look what he says here. Second paragraph. If we would treat each other as if we were just created right now, we wouldn't hate each other, because I only hate you for something you did yesterday. What a profound statement, huh? I only hate... The concept of hating someone has nothing to do with where they're at right now. It only has to do with what happened on a time level and on a space level yesterday, in the past. We will begin to love each other when Mashiach is coming. Why? Because at that time, I will look at every person as if they were just created right now. So you did something wrong yesterday, but who cares? Right now, you're a new person. I mean, that'll be just the way that we look at the world, you know? That's tmimut. Perfect. Now, some would say that's naivety. You're just being naive. You're just being, what's another word for that? People would call that. This way of describing this tmimut. You're running away from reality. I don't know. But that's really tmimut, because all the bad people in the world are waiting for people to look at them with these kinds of eyes. So, Reb Shlomo says like this: there are 7 weeks of the Omer, and during each week I am going through all aspects of different emotions. Do we understand what that statement means? I'll take the week of Chesed, so there's all different aspects of Chesed, right? Chesed sheba Chesed, Gvura sheba Chesed, Tiferet sheba Chesed. I take all these different emotions. If we, let's just go through them very, very quickly, so that we kind of are at least talking the same language. What's Chesed? Just basic right now. I'm not asking any trick questions. What's Chesed? What's Gvura?
Judgment,
Right, more of that. What's Tiferet?
compassion, truth, beauty.
Both. Okay, yeah. What's Netzach? Long lasting, eternity. Or what does Nitzachon mean? To be victorious, right? What's Hod? Either thankfulness or glory or splendor. I don't even know what splendor means. This is a beautiful word. People, right? Splendor. I don't even know what does splendor mean.
Ultimate beauty.
I thought that was Tiferet. Right. It's okay. I'm just messing with you now. Okay. Now Hod. Now Yesod, a big one. What's Yesod? Foundation. Your roots. Where are you rooted? What's that? What's the one that encompasses it all? Kingdom. What does kingdom mean? What does kingdom mean? What does it mean to have malchus in your life? To be a melech. What does that even mean? What does a melech do? A melech leads. Leadership. Become a leader in your own life for other people. You have established leadership in your world. So what does Reb Shlomo just say? There are 7 weeks of the Omer, and during each week I'm going through all aspects of different emotions. Now he says like this, something very, very beautiful over here. Basically, people are sitting in back, so go to the side. Thank you, Tzaddik. He says like this. Some people are very, very good when it comes to chesed, and they stink at gevura. Some people are champs in gevura. When it comes to chesed, they're jokes. Some people are incredibly beautiful people, and they have strong, strong roots, but they have no idea how to implement that into their life. They have no malchus. So what we're going through during Sephirah Omer, we have a chance to work on all the different attributes. He says, I'm going through all aspects of different emotions, and when my emotions are completely in harmony, when everything's in its place, I know exactly what to do and when to do it. I know when to be chesed. I know when to act with gevura. I know when to walk around plugged into the midah of hod. I know exactly when to be what. You know, kind of a great thing that would be to give over to our children, where we don't just explain to them it's important to be nice, that we give them a deeper understanding of trusting their set of emotions as to not just that it's important to be nice. They have to know when it's time for that, when it's time for that. Such a deep sign. I know exactly what to do and when to do it. This is behirut. And you know what? It could also be tmimut. I'm just being very tamim. Oh, this is the time right now to act like this. You want to call it like, you know, theoretical, behavioral patterns? Call it what you want. I'm good with just going with simplicity these days. It's really working. In essence, we're becoming the masters of time and space during the Omer. I know what to do, when to do. That's what it means when my midot are polished. How do you know if you're working on yourself in the Omer or not? Are you finding yourself more in tune with how to be in this world?
I think you waited till we're at the halfway point because this is a hard.
Huh?
You couldn't have taught us this in the beginning of the Omer.
You wouldn't have counted. You'd say forget this, right? Now listen to this. At one time I taught this sweet boy how to put on tefillin, but I forgot 2 things. I didn't tell him that you put on tefillin during the day, and I also thought he knew that you don't put on tefillin in the bathroom. So one night I called him up at 9 o'clock at night. I wanted to know how he's doing. So he says, Rabbi, you'll never guess what I'm doing. My parents are watching TV all night, so I'm putting on tefillin in the bathroom because it's quiet in here. It's cute and it's beautiful, but nebuch, it's not the right time and it's not the right place. Okay? This is giving an example, right? Of even mitzvahs, there's a time and a place for everything. I once had a very long...
Though his kavanah was beautiful.
His kavanah is beautiful, but I can't do anything with the story like that. It's like, Mom, you want to hear about a boy that was sitting on the toilet putting out tefillin at 10 o'clock at night? I mean, what do I do with the story like that? It's a Hasidic tale that shows me, wow, but for my own life, there's not much I could do with that, right? I have to derive something from what I'm learning, from what I'm hearing about. It might be the highest, and I'm sure that they're not punishing him in Gan Eden for it, right? Or in Gehenna, chas v'shalom. But it's just not the right time and it's not the right place. So, this is what I'm asking of God once I count my days. Please, Hashem, bring back the service of the temple to the right place, lim koma. Because you see what it is? Bless you, while we're fixing our hearts and our souls, everything is falling into the right place. You ever get that sense that there's a lot of things weighing on you, there's a lot of good things weighing on you, there's a lot of opportunities weighing on you, a lot of decisions to make, and you can't quite figure out why things aren't just, like we say, stimming, which means meshing, yeah. You can't really understand, like, you know that, wait a second, my life is not full of darkness, it's full of a lot of good things, but things aren't, I don't know, it's just not falling into place. I don't have this clarity as to what exactly I'm supposed to be doing. So he says over here that while we're fixing our hearts and our souls, now what does that mean? Tachlis, to fix your heart and your soul. It means that you're busy with making sure that you're living today. And one of the deepest avoda is that you're not going to let your yesterdays become your slave masters, which the Baal Shem Tov said is our greatest slave master, our yesterdays. When I'm focused on the fact that right now, I might still have to make a phone call to someone. That is not, you're not exempt from those olam hazeh things. But on the level of, you look at yourself every single day and say, this aspect needs polishing. I want to work on this. When you wake up in the morning, the next morning, Amalek says to you, you're going to go and move forward? Really? Who are you kidding? Now, you know what's amazing? This week, tomorrow night, is Pesach Sheni, right? The holiday of the second chances. And it comes always smack in the middle of the Omer. Now, I learned this week something crazy. Do you know when Amalek attacked Am Yisrael? What date it was? It was Pesach Sheni. Yeah, Amalek is the most anti-Pesach Sheni there is. That's exactly what Amalek is. He's the biggest anti-Pesach Sheni. He's coming in, and you wake up every morning, you could say, today I have a chance to just live today. And Amalek says to you, who are you kidding? This is just not you. It's not in your cards. It's not in your cards. It's in that other person's cards that look like a very refined person that had those 15 years to spend with John Kabat-Zinn and other masters of mindfulness maybe, but that's not, you have 5 kids. You have 2 jobs. You have whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. That's when Amalek comes and he attacks you on Pesach Sheni, when Dafka, the Torah is telling you every single day is a Pesach Sheni. Every single day is a second chance to live today. It's not a second chance to fix yesterday. It's a second chance to live today. That's what every single day is. Remember, the first word of the Torah is what? Bet Reshit. A second beginning. It's a second chance to live today. This is the avoda of Sephirah Omer. This is what it means when you now, with that Torah in mind, while we're fixing our hearts and our souls, everything is falling into the right place. When I'm busy doing that, and that becomes a real ikar avoda that I'm consciously working on every single day of my life, especially during the Omer, all those other things that haven't really fallen into place just kind of like naturally flow into you. Everything's put in its right place. So he ends off here with the beautiful bracha. God should bless us. We should be masters of time, masters of counting, masters of knowing where we're going and where we're coming from. And even more than that, we should know what he wants of us and what we want of him. We should be privileged to know what's going on inside of ourselves right this minute, because most of us don't know what's going on. We know something's happening. We know something's brewing, something's stirring up, and we're not really quite sure what it is. And during the avodah of Sephirah Omer, every day I have more of an opportunity to know, to see how things are just folding in. You could try this at home. Tomorrow, just be busy with living tomorrow, right? And then ask yourself at the end of the day, did you get everything done? Did things start falling into place for you in life? And what does that mean, that things start falling into place for you in life? Do you feel like you're more with yourself? Do you feel like you're more in tune with who you are and where you are? Because for us, Yidden living here in Eretz Yisrael, to not be connected to space is brutal. For Yidden living in Chutz La'aretz, to not be connected to the time of space, the concept of space, is a blessing. Right? But for those of us here, to not be connected to the concept of space is painful. Marriages that are not connected to the concept of space, that they're in the presence of their zivug and of their children, is painful. For someone that's not married yet, it doesn't hit as much. The closer you are to doing good things, the more of you not being present hurts. the less closer you are, like Reb Shlomo says, Book of Bamidbar is called the Book of Mistakes. Why? Because the closer you are to where you're supposed to be, the more mistakes you'll probably make along the way. But the Chachma is, how much are you allowing yesterday's mistakes to play a role in what you think about yourself today and what you think about Hashem today? And this might sound like the oldest Torah that we've said so many times, but it's a Torah we should live with every single moment of our lives. So if I had to ask anyone in this room that's willing to share, how would you say, how would you interpret the concept while we're fixing our hearts and our souls during Sephirah Omer? How would you implement that into your own life, starting tonight? And I'll probably call on someone if no one starts talking in 10 seconds.
Well, now I
Thank
have,
you.
Now I have something to focus on. Netzach should be a aspect. So that's your corny mission for the day.
What does that mean?
Well, tap into whatever that means. Netzach should be a so forever, the foundation forever.
Right.
So I don't know, make that into be a grounded person, be in touch with yourself.
I'm gonna test. I'm gonna push you now. That's Yesod. What's Netzach Shema Yesod?
Always
How do you do that?
be consistent. That's
Be consistent in the foundation.
Yeah.
Let's draw that into this world. Let's do this right now. How do you do that?
Well, you could pick one thing to be consistent about. Making bracha rishona. I don't know. Pick something
Okay. No, this is good. Netzach Sheba Yesod. I want to bring something that's foundational about my Yiddishkeit, about my life, and I want to bring nitzchiyut into it. I want to bring eternity into it. Right? Now we're talking. Now there's a bit more of a sikha. Right? Why do I even want to do that? Why do I want to do that to myself? Grounding. I want to fly. Why do I want to bring this grounding, eternal, foundational grounding stuff? Why? Why do you want to do this to yourself?
Because it's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to connect heaven and earth all the time. It's to connect.
You have a foundation you can't build up. You can't get up to the sky without the foundation.
So what I'm working on is that I want to have a constant yesod, so that I can always go up and always have a place to come back to as well.
That's where Shlomo's story yesterday.
Which one?
You'd
Oh, yeah. It's mamish the same thing, absolutely. So you see, we could do this with every single one of the midas if we took a second. And even, I want to say that it's like Reb Nachman's Torahs. Like Reb Nachman told us, Chasidim, you can learn out my Torahs any which way you want and stretch them out to mean whatever it means to in your life. There's just one criteria. What's that criteria? Is that if you derive my teachings to a place that goes against halacha, it's not me talking to you. That's what he said. That's right? So with us as well, who's going to tell us right now that that's not Netzach Sheba Yesod? Maybe some will tell us that. But Mazel Tov, I need to have my own Torah too. For me, that's what it means. And I guarantee you, it's not that you need a guarantee from me. This is what the Torah is telling us. This is what the teaching today is telling us. That makes you into someone that has those two words we started off the shir with. What's that word? What does Sfartem Lachem mean, according to the Baal Tanya?
Clear.
Evan Sapir. That's what Sapir, Sfartem Lachem, Lashon Sapir. That's what brings clarity into your life. Behirut. And what's the other word with the Sfasemes really attaches us to? That's real tmimus. That's real tmimus. That I simply believe, without trying to understand everything, that Hashem Yisbarach, if you allow me to have a foundation that lasts forever, I will always use it to be a base to ascend to you. But as long as I'm in this world, I need a base. That might sound very not high and not spiritual. That's the deepest thing we could do. It's the healthiest thing we could do for ourselves. Now you have this way of dealing with each midah every single night like this. Every single night like this. Now who ends up showing up to Matan Torah after 49 days of living like this? Someone that knows who they are and where they are. Which is the tikkun of what happened with the Egel Azav. That we didn't know where we were. That's who shows up to Matan Torah. And then, is there a place for us to God to give us the Torah into our kishkas? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now if all I care about during Sephirah Omer is to make sure that I said a bracha and I didn't miss a night. And then I show up to Shavuos night. We always say this in checklist Yiddishkeit, you'll receive a Torah, but then you'll just be walking around with a Torah saying, oh, I don't know what to do with this.
You'll be there, but you won't have, if you don't go through all this practice, then you're not present, you don't know how to be present, so you'll be at Matan Torah technically, but not experience.
You'll be the guy that keeps Shabbos, that sends his children to Jewish education. It's makpid on kashrus, and he is wondering, why in the world aren't things working for me? I'm doing everything right. We're here to do work. This is the real deep avodas hanefesh. This is the soul stuff that we're here to do. So this is what we're doing during Sephirah Omer. So I give us all a bracha, that the next time we do the Hineni Muchan U'Zuman, and we say, U'sfartem lachem, that it has a completely new meaning. And then you can, Mimachras HaShabbos, Mimaviach, Sheva Shabbosos Tmimos Tiena. You know, then, now we have a completely different understanding of why there's such a dagesh. Why do Chazal say that it's about counting every single day? Because the opportunities that you have every single day will never come back to you. I learned the secret of time during this time, so that the greatest gift in the world can be placed in a trustworthy possession, a place to keep it being held, which is us. By the time we reach Matan Torah, we should become the masters of this. And Bezrat Hashem, you know, this is who we are, Mekadesh Yisrael V'Azmanim. This is really who we are. We sanctify time. We are people who sanctify time. So, take it as homework, take it as holy task. Check yourselves tomorrow. Just tomorrow. How much of tomorrow is going to be lived, as opposed to how much of today are you going to schlep into tomorrow? And ask yourselves, when you catch yourselves, why am I doing this again? Why do I really think that I'm still stuck in yesterday? It's good stuff. It's good. This is the real stuff. It's a new era we're entering into. It's like, you know, you're gonna know better. We'll be left with maybe one student here. I know it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in all the shiurim. I know it. I know it. But hey, you gotta know where you are. I have to know where I am. You have to know where you are. Well, it'll go down to one and then jump back to God knows how much, as long as we all get back to the mountain together and we know where we are. All right, Yeshar Koach, everyone. We'll see you next week, Bezrat Hashem.